Hello, welcome to our latest Swampcast, one that we didn't know if we'd be doing about halfway through the season, Robbie, because you didn't know Florida's going to make the SEC championship game, but they are, and we'll be heading up to Atlanta soon to cover that game. Biggest SEC championship game ever.
Yeah, it's a play-in game for the national championship game. I mean, not only are you playing for a conference title, which is the #1 goal every year, but this gives you the ticket to Miami and the big one.
#1 versus #2 in the Georgia Dome, which, and I wrote about this earlier, Robbie. I love that atmosphere there. It's so great. Especially when it's Florida, Alabama.
Yeah, and we're kind of sitting in the middle of the whole crowd, really. You could reach out and touch the fans in front of you.
They reached out and tried to touch us a couple of times, but
remember, I think it was 2 years ago, the one guy got so drunk he passed out in the wrong seat and they had to come wake him up. It took like 20 minutes to get him out of there.
He was sound asleep.
Now, why would you go to a game that you're not even going to remember?
I don't know. I'm a little trepidatious about going up there, Robbie.
Party after the game.
I'm trepidatious. Last time I was there, a tornado hit the place, so hopefully they've got it fixed since then, but it was certainly a scary time that night, but this night it's just going to be loud for other reasons.
Going to be Alabama loud.
It is going to be there.
Let's face it.
They tend to get more. What they do is they buy tickets every year as if they're going to go. That's the I don't say arrogance.
Well, somehow, and they've known a lot longer than Florida they were going to be in that game.
That's true.
They've been buying up every ticket they could get. So.
No, I think they both clinched the same day, but they knew they weren't going to lose 3 in a row.
Oh yeah, and Meyer admitted that they're going to have more fans there. It's going to be more like he didn't say a road, but not really completely neutral site for this game.
Yeah, it's going to be more Alabama fans, but it's certainly going to be a lot of Florida fans.
Oh yeah.
Tough ticket to get, I can tell you that. I know a lot of people that are hoping they can find something. They're going to the game or they're going to Atlanta anyway.
Yeah, well, a lot of unhappy people that couldn't get their hands on tickets. So
well, let's talk about
a tough ticket.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about the game itself, Robbie. Everything seems to be about Florida's speed, Alabama's power. Alabama seems to be bristling at that notion that they have some speed of their own, and I'm sure Florida's saying, hey, we got some power of our own.
Florida's really bristling about that. You talk about Meyer, and he says he reads about how it's finesse team. He goes, he doesn't get what people are saying with that. You know, they lead the SEC in rushing, and you don't lead the SEC in rushing if you're a finesse team. There's a lot of power on the Florida offensive line. I think they're really fired up about that too.
They lead the SEC in rushing. Florida leads the SEC in rushing defense. So it's one of those, immovable objects versus the unstoppable force.
No, you mean Alabama leads the SEC in rushing defense?
Yeah.
You said Florida.
I said they.
No, you said Florida.
I said they.
I think you said Florida. Go back and check that. Okay.
Check that. I said they.
Okay, Alabama leads the SEC in rushing defense.
Yeah, that was
Florida's
my point.
Second or third. Okay.
Yes, they are. I
Roll
think second, actually. But there's a lot of X factors in this game. The kick returners, you got two of the best: Brandon James, Javier Arenas.
Punt return, Arenas is really deadly on the punt return. Which the good thing for Florida is the punt coverage team's been great. Kickoff team's been bad, so
not so good.
But he's not as good as a kickoff returner, they say. So
well, I think the key there, Robbie, is going to be Caleb Sturgis. He had an awful game in Tallahassee, and I shouldn't say that since I went to school with this guy, but he wasn't very good. And
short kicks aren't bad when they're real high, but when they're not high and short, it's trouble.
Well, Urban told me after the game that he gets a little nervous in big games.
Yeah.
So
well, this is the biggest one he's ever played in.
It's like the old Lou Holtz line when the kicker said he had a hard time kicking when Lou Holtz was watching him, and he said, "Well, I intend to be at all the games."
With about 80,000 people.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of people there. We'll see how they do. But maybe indoors, artificial turf will boom them through the end zone. It won't be an issue. But another X factor, really, to me, is how well Florida can play their run. I mean, you look at their running game; it's very good. They pound the ball. They like to. They've got, to me, the best offensive line in the country.
Yeah.
With Antoine Caldwell, Andreu Smith. These are big-time NFL players.
The best favorable thing for Florida on this is the fact what they did to Georgia. The most balanced team they faced all year, the best running back they faced. They shut him down and then made turnovers in the pass defense with interceptions. So Florida has a chance to stop the run. If they do that and put Alabama in third and long, look out.
We'll see if the Percy Harvin talk is a smoke screen, which
I say it is.
Wouldn't be the first time where they want Alabama to game plan for him. But one thing about it is, as great as Percy is, when he's in the game, they tend to rely on him sometimes a little too much. And Tebow tends to lock on to Percy Harvin. Yeah. So maybe it'll open it up even more for Florida.
The last few games when they kind of used Harvin as a decoy, they had big plays. When they went to Harvin, they got kind of stuffed a little bit. So, I think you're right. They spread the ball around more when he's not in there.
Yeah. So we got that going. Then, of course, you've got how well Florida's going to be able to handle the turnovers. They lead the nation in turnover margin.
By a ridiculous margin, too. I mean, you talk to the coaches.
Plus 21, isn't it?
It's hard to believe.
So they've got to avoid those. And, the bottom line is this is a game that creates heroes. There's some guys who it may be the who you are your heroes. Guys like Tim Tebow, could be John Parker Wilson. I mean, the MVP of the game will be interesting to see who that ends up being.
If it's one of those Alabama running backs, it's not good news for Florida.
If it's Percy Harvin, that'll be the story of the year.
Or if it's Tim Tebow, it's good.
As it was
news.
2 years ago when Percy Harvin won it. Now, I've been at the game a few times, Robbie, when it wasn't Florida, and it's great. But when it's Florida there against Alabama, to me, that is what the SEC has to want every year.
Well,
I think we're about to see that.
Yeah,
too.
well, these are the two teams that kind of got the SEC game going back in the 90s when they started. They were the teams always met, and they created a real rivalry in this game. So
yeah, 92, 93, 94, 96, and then, of course, 99 as well.
That was a bad one for Florida.
That wasn't good. That was the Doug Johnson. All of a sudden, we didn't know because we weren't allowed to practice. He showed up with a bad shoulder.
Yeah, didn't play.
You remember he started the second half and threw 3 ducks, and they got him out of there.
He couldn't throw.
Yeah, they shot him up with cortisone. It didn't do any good. But you hope if you're a Gator fan, there'll be a better result than that one. That was awful. But I think we're heading for that now, Robbie. I think we're going to see Florida and Alabama go back to being the dominant teams in this conference. When you look at how young both of them are, Alabama, 10 freshmen on their 2 deep, 2 freshmen. Florida, a secondary that's all, young kids and all the skill players they have that are
23
young.
Interceptions too.
Yeah, so I think we're heading for that, and we'll see who wins this game and goes on to almost certainly play for the national title game. I've seen
it's a play-in game, Pat.
Yeah, I've seen.
I don't think there's any way around it.
Mess with the numbers and everything.
If Michigan couldn't talk its way in 2 years ago, Texas can't do it this time.
Yeah, I don't think so. So we'll see how it goes, and then of course we'll be coming to you on our next Swampcast. You'll know whether you're playing for the national title. Well, you'll have a good idea, or whether you're going to the Sugar Bowl. We'll be live from not live, but on tape from the Georgia Dome, and look forward to it. Again, love Atlanta. Christmas parade Saturday morning.
Oh yeah.
Kelsey's going. She's going to have a great time. It'll be cold. Make sure you pack warm, Robbie.
We'll do.
10-day. It's going to be a little cold, and we'll have this thing covered like you won't believe. We've got so many. I don't think there's going to be anybody left in the newsroom staff staying here covering it. Everybody's going up there to cover this game. So make sure you check it, the Gainesville Sun and Gatorsports.com. Until we come to you live from the Georgia Dome, Robbie, Andrew, Pat, Dooley saying so long from the Sunshine State.